We live in a culture obsessed with curated perfection. We are told to grind until we burn out, to hide our flaws, and to post only the highlight reels of our lives. But behind closed doors, many of us are drowning in anxiety, battling imposter syndrome, and feeling completely disqualified by our own weaknesses. What if I told you that the ultimate survival guide for the overwhelmed wasn't written by a modern self-help guru, but by a man sitting in a dusty room 2,000 years ago? Welcome back. Today we are diving into the most raw, emotional, and intensely personal letter in the entire Bible, the book of 2 Corinthians. If you've ever felt like a fraud or like your brokenness makes you useless, this letter is going to change your life. To understand this letter, you have to understand the drama. Paul founded the church in Corinth, but after he left, things went off the rails. False teachers moved in, calling Paul weak, unimpressive, and saying his suffering was proof that God wasn't with him. But Paul starts his letter not by defending his resume, but by talking about his pain. In chapter 1, he says that God is the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort. Here is the twist that hits home for us today. Paul says God comforts us in our troubles so that we can comfort others. Your darkest seasons, your battles with mental health, your grief, they aren't wasted. They are the exact things that give you the empathy to heal someone else. Your scars aren't your shame. They are your ministry. In chapters 3 through 5, Paul tackles our obsession with performance. He compares our human bodies and minds to jars of clay. In the ancient world, clay jars were cheap, everyday items. They broke easily. They weren't meant to be looked at. But Paul says, we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. Think about that. You don't have to be a flawless, unbreakable titanium container. You are allowed to be fragile. You are allowed to have cracks. Because when a clay jar has cracks, that is exactly how the light inside shines out. Paul follows this up with one of the most famous lines in the letter. We fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. Your current stress? It's real, but it's temporary. Now, Paul gets highly practical. In chapters 6 and 7, he talks about walking through open doors, but also guarding your heart. He introduces the concept of not being unequally yoked. While often used to talk about marriage, the core principle applies to all of life. Stop tying your soul and your energy to people and environments that pull you away from peace and purpose. It is okay to set boundaries. Then, in chapters 8 and 9, he pivots to a massive modern issue: financial stress and greed. He challenges them to give, not out of obligation or guilt, but because God loves a cheerful giver. He reminds them that true wealth isn't about what you accumulate. It's about what you are willing to let go of to help others. This is the climax of the letter. In chapters 10 through 12, Paul is forced to defend his calling against the super apostles who were boasting about how great they were. Paul does something brilliant. He boasts too, but he boasts about his failures. He tells them about a thorn in his flesh, a physical or mental agony that tormented him. He begged God 3 times to take it away, and God said no. The same character now surrounded by gentle, divine light. The thorn remains, but the character's expression shows peace and understanding. The light represents God's grace and strength working through weakness. Instead, God gave him this answer: "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." This flips the entire script on modern hustle culture. Your worth is not tied to your strength. In fact, God often does his best work when you are at the end of your rope. When you stop pretending to be strong, you finally give God the space to step in and be strong for you. So what do we do with 2 Corinthians in the 21st century? We stop faking it. We realize that it's okay to be overwhelmed, it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to be a fragile clay jar. Your broken pieces don't make you useless to God. They make you the perfect canvas for his grace. If this message hit home for you today, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button so the algorithm pushes this to someone else who might be drowning in stress today. Subscribe for more deep dives into how ancient wisdom solves modern problems.